Survey of a typical floor, the view. We're at the one end of the building, the emergency exit. There's an emergency light and a smoke detector, and that is the entrance to that is the exit to the corridor. Flight of stairs up, flight of stairs down. The light fitting on the half landing does not seem to have it doesn't seem to be emergency. Out into the corridor, service lift, and then we have the two service exits of the flats, an emergency light, one light fitting here, and one light fitting at the exit to the fire escape. This light fitting should have been emergency, but it is not. Going down the corridor, another light fitting here, and we are into the lobby of the flats. Lobby of the flats, in this case is going to be flat 408, 407. There are two light fittings, one and two. Both light fittings are marked as emergency, however, clearly can be seen here, or not, as may be the case. The LED indicator is inside this light fitting, but not in the other one. There is a running man sign pointing to the fire escape, which is this. We then go into the service corridor, which does not have any signage because it is not a fire escape. Switch by the door. One emergency lighting at the first intersection. Turning right, a running man sign, but this light fitting, which should have been emergency, is not. Therefore, in case of emergency, this sign is not going to be lit. Down the corridor, service corridor, switch here, then one light fitting, second light fitting, and an emergency light fitting active with the running main. Second switch, and typically the lights were on in this corridor, now they are off. We go out into the next lobby, a lobby of flats 406, 405. There is a running man sign here, which will have to be replaced by a blade. Again, two light fittings. They are marked as emergencies, but only this light fitting is an emergency. This one, although it says that it is an emergency, there are no LED indicators anywhere, and therefore it is not. Going further down the corridor, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 light fittings. They will be replaced eventually with the new light fitting. There is a blade light fitting here. Actually, there are 5 light fittings, not 6. Again, we're into the next lobby, which has for flat 404, 403, 2 light fittings. Both of them mark as an emergency, but they are not. And the running man sign pointing to the other side of the building, which is going to be the next lobby following the corridor. Service corridor currently off. There is a light fitting, an emergency light above the door, 2 more light fittings down the corridor, and in effect a mirror image of the previous corridor, which means that this light fitting, which was supposed to be an emergency light, is not. There is one above this door, however, this light fitting will not light this intersection of the corridor and therefore does not comply with BS 5266. Switch. And we are now into the mirror image of the last corridor, flats 402, 401. One light fitting which was marked an emergency, but it's not. One light fitting which is marked emergency, and it is. The sign pointed to the fire escape and the door of the fire escape. Into the corridor, one light fitting here, an emergency light at the end of the corridor. However, going this way and that way to the emergency exit, one light fitting here, beside being, looks like broken, it's hanging on one screw, it is not an emergency light. Out to the fire escape, emergency light, and that is the end of the corridor. And now we have a full survey of a typical floor, and as it happens, this is the 4th floor.